Hello, hello. Hello. Oh, okay. How's it going? I'm going to pop out my chat. I see Ellen and Amaris and Jenna and Helen. Hello, everybody. Let's pop this chat out so I can see all the comments and make it a little bigger. Okay. Well, hello there and happy Tuesday. By the way, if anyone is entering the DIY hook challenge this year, be sure to go check out Matt the Captain, his page on Instagram at willprint4 credits. He just posted a reel and he's sanding DIY hooks. So he's super busy. That's exactly what he's doing right now. He's sanding more hooks. I was gonna see if I had. Yeah, so a couple of these are gonna go out tomorrow, but this is all that I have left in here that are sanded and washed. So he has to make some more so that I have plenty. But we're so excited. I think we're up to 44 people entering the challenge this year. So super exciting. Oh, excuse me. Okay. So Amara says I have pen and paper. Jenna says I'm working, so I'm here, but may not be as active as I'd like. And my dog just came in the house, so I'm gonna have to go put him back out. So give me just a second. He is not supposed to be in here. Come on, Zeus. Okay, guys, sorry about that. He is not supposed to be in the house, and I would have just left him in, but that means that the door is open. So he pushes the door open with his nose, and then we're gonna let all the bugs in and all that fun stuff. Okay. Helen got her hook on Saturday. Awesome. Yay, that's so exciting. We haven't started on ours yet. I still have to make a plan. I don't have a plan for what I'm going to decorate mine with just yet. Have a few ideas. I may do another Mod Podge collage style hook because I did a lot of scrapbooking when I was younger, so really fun for me. I would just have to figure out what collage I would want to do, because last year I did a comic book theme for Matt. So that was super fun, but I don't want to repeat the exact same thing. So, okay, so we have lots of notes today. I was going to work on a project. Let me see where I'm at on this one, because I can probably do a little bit of crocheting as I talk. Let's see. Oh, I can give you guys a little sneak peek. Let's see where I'm at here. Okay, I can definitely do some more crocheting. I'm working on this fun Garfield print style vest. So I can definitely work a little on that. Oh, and I can use my superhero hook. I'll show you that one. As you guys may or may not know, I did get skates, roller skates, and I'm working on a skate leash pattern. This is using Lion brand Velux Jumbo. Have to weave and tie up these ends, but this forms the little skate leash that goes around the skates and then cinches up around the skate, and you toss this over your shoulders. You can carry your skates around. This is going to be a pattern that's going to come out very soon, and it's going to be a duo pattern, because you get the skate leash and the little crocheted toe caps for your skates. So I'm really excited about that one, and it's just so cute. I love that. Anne gave me something to use this Velux Jumbo yarn for, because yeah, it's just kind of sat around. Okay, this was my DIY hook from last year. I got, but it made me realize that the 19 is going to be easier to deal with, because it doesn't have any extra angles for like the handle. They're just straight up and down. This is a 25, but the 19s are very similar, that they don't have an extra handle. But this is what I did last year. So we can't see it. I know it's dark. It's dark, but you can see like the Hulk is up here. And this hook was a black base. And if it had been a white base, you would have been able to see it more. I'm sorry it's not in focus. This camera's not that great on YouTube, and YouTube's gonna put me in and out of focus, so I'll have to, might be connection issues. You're correct, it might be. Well, let's get into the meat of everything, since we don't need focus to talk about blogging. It's all pixely, yeah, so it's probably my connection. It says everything's working, but I don't know, maybe it'll fix it when it posts it, maybe, since it's live. Okay, so we can get started. I would love to know, first of all, I do want to talk today all about blogging for crocheting or crafting. So if you have specific questions, go ahead and type them into the chat, and I can make sure that I comment on them and answer your questions as best I can. A little background on this topic. I am not a crazy star blogger, and I think that's important to keep in mind, but I am someone who has had a blog for quite some time. I had a free blog, and then I had now I have a paid blog where I actually pay for my domain name. So I've done a little bit of both, and I think sometimes it's nice to get insight from people who have not gotten to a point where they have this like crazy, you know, a blog that pays them 6 figures, if that makes sense. I just lost my train of thought. I couldn't remember what word I was looking for, but I think it's nice to have that middle ground, because I'm still at the point where I remember what it was like to have my free blog and how I was just starting out, and I just added paid ads to my blog, and so I'm still very new to that. I'm not making a lot of money off of Google AdSense, which is what I'm using to put ads on my blog, but it's something. It's better than nothing. It gets my feet wet in that world of having ad payments, and it gets people used to, you know, seeing ads on my blog, so that's not going to be a surprise. Okay, Amaris asked, what should you include in your blog and how often should you post? So I'm going to write that down to make sure that I answer. What to include and how often to post. And then I remember I did have a question on Instagram that was, do I need one? Someone asked, do I need a blog? And I think they were asking as a designer, pattern designer. So I'm going to write that down as well. And if you don't have questions, I would also love to know if you already have a blog. So let me know in the comments if you already started a blog. Maybe you have a personal blog and you don't have a crochet blog and you're looking to transition or have a new blog for your business or for crocheting or crafting or something like that. Dana asks, what are the benefits? So I'm going to write that down as well. Benefits of a blog. Samantha says she does not have a blog. Yeah, so can keep the questions coming. Ellen said the connection is cleared. We have definitely had some issues with our internet here, so I'm glad I'm at least live, but that has been an issue lately, so I apologize for any pixelations and things. Good tips for a beginner. And I'm writing these down so I don't forget to answer them. Amara says I started a blog, but it wasn't successful because I wasn't sure what to post. Okay. Nilla says I don't have a blog or a homepage. Okay, that's fine. Samantha says I need prayers. Well, I can send you my prayers. I hope everything's okay. I don't know if you need prayers for personal or prayers for starting a blog. Not trying to be funny if something's going on, but I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay. Amaris, how do I plan content? That's another good one. How to plan content. Okay. As you guys continue to ask questions, I will put more of them down so I make sure that I answer them. And Samantha says, I'm sick. I hope you feel better. Sending all of the healing thoughts your way. I hope you get to feeling better. I have a couple of people in my life right now who are sick. It's never a good thing, never fun. But I hope you get to feeling better very soon. And I hope this helps. Helen says, most of the ideas I see for ideas come from designers. I sell products and my ideal customer doesn't crochet. She's not going to be interested in tutorials, ideas for product sellers. Yes, that's fantastic. Yep. Good question. Product sellers. And what works and doesn't work. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in, and I will continue to write down questions as they come in. I'll start off by saying, for me, I was a writer growing up when I was younger. So, and when I say a writer, I mean I journaled. I loved journaling. So I actually have a journal. Starting in middle school, I have a journal for every single year. Fill the entire journal. At least I'd get close. I'd fill the journal for Christmas, and I would start a new journal at the beginning of the year. So I have journals. I mean, I probably have, I guess that would be 4 years of high school and 4 years of college. And I think I have a journal for my first year of grad school. So that's 9 journals that I have. And I may have more. I may have more than that. I may have started earlier than high school. But I loved journaling and writing and getting my thoughts and feelings out onto paper. So blogging, especially personal blogging, really made sense for me when it moved more to like the digital world. Emma, what did I miss? Emma, we are talking all about starting a blog, crochet blogging, craft blogging, anything. And I do need to start crocheting so that I don't forget to do a little bit of work while I'm on this. So I started one of my first blogs. Actually, I don't remember when my first blog started because it was I probably started a blog in high school in computer class, I would think, because I learned a lot of like the basic HTML coding and, like I said, I don't know when my first blog was, but I started a very important personal blog project in 2015. It was after we lost our daughter. And I needed a place to get all of my feelings out, and it turned into, it's still an active blog. And actually I can share the links. You guys can check it out. But I think sometimes it's nice to start with a personal blog just because you can see what you enjoy talking about, and you just get used to writing and you don't feel this pressure of writing about specifically crochet or crafting things. You can just write about things you enjoy. And I actually see now how it's so pixelated. Now that I've pulled this up, let me make sure I'm on Wi-Fi. I am on Wi-Fi. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry it's so pixelated. I hope you'll still get something out of it. Okay, it seemed to clear up when I got closer, which is interesting. Let me see if I move this a little bit closer to me. Technical issues, right? Yeah, it's still pixelated for me. I don't know, but we'll keep chatting as long as the audio is coming through. Okay, so let me share. I've got to pull it up first. This should work. Copy. There it is. All right, I'm going to share this in the chat. So this was a free blog. So this is Coffee, Tea, and Inner Peace. That was the blog that I started in 2015. And if you look, it's kind of a mix, but it's all around this idea of happiness and wellness and positivity. And I have some recipes thrown in there. Um, One of them is called Exploring Your Creative Story and Finding Your Strength. Um, Sunrises and Quiet Contemplations, homemade pesto recipe. So it's really kind of a feel good, positive spin blog. And some of that did translate into my business blog. So when I did start a blog for Pink Sheep Design, some of that feeling came with it. I talked a little bit about finding your niche and branding, and that has a lot to do with it. The things that you enjoy writing about, the spin that you like to put on things, your style of writing all comes into that and can kind of help you decide what you want to write about. From there, I will show you, I'm going to pull this up. So I had a free blog for about 7 years and this free blog, it was a WordPress.com blog. And I turned that blog into a website because when you do the WordPress.com blogs, the free ones that say it's going to have a domain name, then WordPress.com. So like the one I just shared, coffeeteaandinnerpeace.wordpress.com. My first business blog was Pink Sheep. Let's see. It's Pink Sheep Design Blog, I think. I'm going to share that one too for you. So you can kind of see that transition. Yes, so pinksheepdesignblog.wordpress.com. I'm going to enter that as well. Now, keep in mind, I did some trickery work on this one because I didn't want to take this one down because this had so many links that were on Google where people were finding my blog posts due to the SEO from this original blog, this free blog. So what I did is I turned all of the links on my website, my old blog, into hyperlinks to my new website. So for instance, if you go to this website that I just shared, pinksheepdesignblog.wordpress.com, and you click on any of the header links. So there's like home, who's the Pink Sheep Maker apparel, blog, classes and resources. And this was all stuff that I did on the free blog. The free blog had all of these pages because you can add pages. Your home page is usually where all of your blogs are, but then you can have your links that go to different pages. So it really can be a workable website. And for someone who is doing it very, very part-time as something that, you know, I just didn't want to invest in a paid website. I didn't see the need for me. And so, but right now, if you click on, even if you go to this website and you click on the blog, which is one of the options, it takes you to my new website's blog. So everything is linking to my new website. But you can see just from that main page that it was a very functioning, workable website, which was the goal. I don't think that if you're going to have a blog, I think that it should be a part of your main website. Or if you don't have a website, your blog should also work as your website so that it creates a place that you can send people to get more information about you. You should have an about page on your blog if that is functioning as a website. So for me, I started with a social media account, Instagram and Facebook, and I really wanted a place that had more of a profile about me and what I did. And that's where this free blog came in. So I went to WordPress.com, I got a free blog, and that's what turned into my website for 7 years. I mean, that's where I sent people when I had a show and they needed a website to see my work and see my about me and all that information. I would send people to my pinksheepdesign.wordpress.com. And I didn't see an issue with it. It was, to me, still professional. I know I didn't own the domain name, which you can upgrade through WordPress.com and do that. I don't recommend that though. So there are going to be a lot of people who tell you do not start with a free blog. I don't have a problem with it because that's what I did. I started with a free blog. I don't regret it because it worked for me for 7 years. I didn't need to pay $200 a year to have hosting and a domain name, which is about how much it costs me now. It's just under $200, I think, for hosting through SiteGround. So I do use SiteGround. So if you're going to go the paid route, if you want your own domain name and you want to go the paid route, I think it's cheaper your first year. So you would go to siteground.com and you would do hosting, sign up for hosting. I chose WordPress as my option for my website, and I paid for my domain name, which is now therealpinksheepdesign.com. So I do have a paid site. The main reason that I switched from a free to a paid was ads. So I think there are like hacks and ways that you can integrate paid advertising into a free blog, but it's very difficult and I couldn't figure it out. So I finally just switched to the paid version. I now integrate that with Google AdSense, and I have yet to pay for my domain name with Google AdSense. So the payoff has not been that great, but I do think the timing, it was the right time for me to do it. I'm going to continue working on my paid blog and see how it goes. But that's why I don't have a problem with people starting off with a free blog. I don't think there's a problem with that. I think it lets you get your feet wet. You start kind of figuring out what you want to blog about. You can turn it into a functioning website. You can have pages that have about me, and you have links that link out to affiliate stuff. You can do you can have an Etsy shop linking out from that. You can have lists of patterns. But oh, I think it lost me. Yeah, I hope I'm back. I don't know why the connection is. Okay, so that's free versus. I don't think it's an issue. I think that sometimes it's easier to just go to WordPress.com blog so that you can get your feet wet, see if you enjoy writing, blogging, all of that. Take it slow, figure out the ins and outs. It's not going to be an overnight thing. There's different themes you can try. I went super simple with mine just to keep it easy. But over time, again, I had this thing for like 7 years. So over that 7 years, I just continued to build on my website. I figured out the cool things that I could do with it. And I would just sit down for chunks of time when I had some free time just to work on my website, work on this free blog, just to make it look really nice and have all of the things that I wanted it to have. Okay, so choosing a name. I want to talk about this a little bit on choosing a name for your blog. And the main thing is to make sure that you are consistent in the naming of all of the ways that people can find you on the internet. So for me, it would have been great if my website and my blog could have just been pinksheepdesign.com, because Instagram, I'm Pink Sheep Design. YouTube, I'm youtube.com/pinksheepdesign. So the more consistent that you can be with your name and trying to keep it fairly simple. If you have a name that is extremely difficult to pronounce or to remember, it can potentially make it harder for people to remember how to find you. So keeping it simple, but be consistent. So even though I couldn't be pinksheepdesign.com, my free blog was pinksheepdesignblog.wordpress.com. My website is therealpinksheepdesign.com. So I tried to keep it as close as possible, even though I couldn't get the exact domain name that I wanted. And I chose a .com. There are things that you could choose other .whatevers. They'll usually have that, but I was reading when I was looking into it, because I could have gotten pinksheepdesign.com, pinksheepdesign.something. But I was reading that for SEO purposes, the .coms are always the best. I could be wrong there, but that's why I chose to go with the .com. Okay, so that's about choosing a name. Make sure you're easy to find. And here's where we get into, I had a couple people who have asked, what do I even write about? And this does go back to who is your audience. So if you are selling only products, the only thing you do is sell crocheted products, your blog is going to look very different than someone who sells maybe finished products and designs. Maybe they only sell designs. Maybe they do tutorials on their YouTube channel. It's all going to be very different. So for me, if I go back and let's see if it'll work on here, if I can go, oh yeah, I can. Let's try to go all the way because my oldest blog posts are back when I was not focusing on selling patterns. So I can kind of give you an idea of the things that I wrote about. Let's see. So I decided to kind of focus on as a product seller. And actually I didn't. I don't know if I ever really truly focused on blog posts for people who were buying my stuff. I think my blog ended up turning into more of talking to other sellers, which was probably not the right way to go. Again, we're all learning, and I think that's something really important to talk about and share. So even though I was selling products, some of my earliest blog posts were like a craft market prep checklist. I had a blog post about how to get repeat customers and engaged followers. So like, again, that's speaking to someone like me versus speaking to who my audience probably was. So that was probably a mistake. But again, it was still getting me, I was writing the blog posts. And I think at the time that's what was important. And I was just getting information out there. I was seeing what was doing well. You will be able to look at analytics once you start writing it and seeing if it's getting hits. But what's interesting about that is if you talk to anybody about starting a crochet business, they're all going to talk about multiple streams of income. So usually just selling products is not going to be your end game. You're going to have some other stream of income, it may be a whole nother audience. Again, so you may sell finished products, but you may also sell printable items for other makers that talk about the process of being a successful product seller, if that makes sense. So you might have blog posts. Your blog may focus more on that side of things where you're talking to other makers of like, here's how I have found success selling finished products. But I had really kind of looked into, okay, what should I be writing about as a finished product seller? Things that I read about were how to care for your handmade products. So you could actually have, your blog could be more of a guide. So if you're selling finished products, you could have a blog post about how to store your handmade items, how to store your winter items when it's summertime, and how to store your seasonal items when they're not in season. Different ways to do that. And I'm thinking like, are there certain bags people could buy to store things well? Should they separate them if the knit items, you don't want them rubbing together? How do you keep them safe from moths? Things like that. So you could look into how to store items, how to style items, how to wash and care for those items. 5 must-haves for summertime, and you can highlight items that you create. 5 must-haves for fall and winter wardrobes. If you're selling the pom-pom hats and the gloves and things like that. You could have a gift guide featuring items that you create as well as what others create, and roundups. So you could do like a Father's Day gift guide. And if there are items that you sell, you could do that, because I do pattern roundups. So I think gift guides are a really great idea for people who sell finished products, because you could have the gift guide listed out. Let's see, that's all I can think of right now. But if you guys have ideas, if that is sparking ideas in your head, pop them in the comments, because this is a great time to brainstorm. So if you have ideas of like, oh, gift guides are cool, what about this? This is a great way to bounce ideas off of each other for that. Now, as a designer, it's really up to you. Most of the big blogs that I have seen, so like Moogly, All About Amy, there's a whole bunch more. I was looking through them. Most of them have free patterns. That's the majority of their blog posts. So from small patterns to large patterns, it's usually a free pattern as the blog post. And then within that blog post, there are affiliate links, upgrades, and ads, which is how people start to make money. So if you have a free blog, you can still take advantage of affiliate links and upgrades. And upgrades are, this is a free pattern, but there aren't a lot of pictures. Usually there are not any progress pictures that I've seen. Most of the blogs, there's like maybe a few but you can say at the very, very top, this is a free pattern, but if you would like the full photo tutorial and the ad-free, because your blog may still have ads on it through WordPress. So you're not getting paid for them, but WordPress usually has some ads on there anyway. And so you can say, this is where you get the PDF. So if you want the printable PDF with the full photo tutorial, this is where you get it. And I do have to say, people buy the upgrades, especially if, like I said, you don't have any, if you keep the pattern really, really, really simple on your blog and you just have a finished photo of the item and you just give them the instructions written out, you can easily get people say, hey, if you're a beginner and you need extra help, this is where you can get the PDF. And people do buy the PDF. I have heard it not just from me, but from other bloggers who put all of their patterns are free, but they all have upgraded versions. So you can go to their Etsy shop or their Ravelry store and you can purchase the PDF. Tricks and tips. So I've seen a lot like how to get clean edges, how to do clean color changes, like any of those tips and tricks. Those are great blog posts. Another great thing that I like to do, which I need to go back and do it because I haven't done it yet and I'm working on it and I have some drafts for it. But if you have a YouTube channel, turn your YouTube videos into blogs and turn your blogs into YouTube videos. The best thing that you can do for yourself is to stretch your content. So if you spend all the time that it takes to film a YouTube tutorial on how to do something, that needs to be turned into a blog post if you have a blog, because you put all that time and effort in, and turning it into a blog post just gives you a whole nother place for you to be able to share that content that you worked so hard to create. So doing that, like right now, I think I have 5 free patterns on YouTube that are not featured on my website and should be. They need to be on my website and they need to be on my blog. So that's been on my to-do list since the Crochet Business Summit. And it's still on my to-do list, but I'm going to get there. I promise. But I need a blog that says, like my Sneaky Buns bucket hat is the one I'm working on. So I've had that pattern available for free on my YouTube channel now for over a year, almost a year, maybe a year now. But it is not listed on my website as being a free pattern. So I need to pop that over there and create a blog post. And all I need to do is write the simple instructions and have a link to the video so people can actually watch the tutorial if they want. And then obviously at the top, I'm going to say, get the full, PDF photo tutorial pattern here. And that'll be at the very top. I've seen a couple of people that do giveaway posts. I'd have to look into that. I don't really know how that works, but I'm sure if you read the post, it would tell you how they do that. I know Moogly has a lot of the giveaway posts on her blog. You could do a crochet along on your blog. You can do pattern roundups like I do on your blog, or again, like gift guides or style roundups or anything like that. Handmade gift roundups. I did that a few times. I did local handmade gift items. So I had a local focus because I was going to local craft shows. So I liked to go around and find other local artists, and I would do a roundup gift guide for local people, which was great. And I could share that on my Facebook page because I had local people on there that were interested. So that got some traffic and potentially some leads. If people come to your blog, if you get other people to share it. There were some craft show groups that I shared that to, and they were sharing it because they were featured in it. So that's really a great way to do that. Let's see. One thing that I did want to include, this was in my notes before I go to even more, we've got some more questions to cover, but blogging is not a get rich quick scheme. And I've seen that too. I read a couple of other people's blogs on how to start a blog, and it's just, you really need to start it for more than just trying to make more money, because most likely you're not going to make a ton of money off of your blog, at least not at first, and not without a lot of work. I started my free blog again because I liked the idea of blogging. I wanted to start writing again. And I also needed a website. So it was a twofold reason. Worked out really great for me to have that free website and free blog. I did not start it for any kind of monetary reason. It worked out when I started sharing, sharing things that got traffic, and then people did visit my Etsy shop. And now I can focus on a lot of different things because I talk to makers. And so I can share social media tips and business tips. I can share patterns. I can share tutorials. I can share kind of a wide range, which doesn't make me feel like I have to stay on certain topics. I have a lot more freedom in what I can write about, which is really nice. And another thing you can do is ask. So if you have any kind of following on Instagram or Facebook, if you have a Facebook group, anything like that, if you have an email list. So if you have started an email list for customers, and this is if you sell products or patterns, you can just ask them, what would you like to hear from me? What are some resources that you guys would like to see, that you feel you'd like my insight or my input on? What would be some helpful things? I do that a lot. Like today, the whole reason I'm talking about blogging is because I put a question out on Instagram and I asked what you guys would like me to chat about. And one of the first topics that came up was starting a blog. So there you go. That makes it really easy. If you just ask, what would you like me to share? What are some resources that would be helpful? And then that part of the work's done for you. So it's really nice. Okie dokie. Let's see. Okay, so when it comes to categories of things to talk about, I would say to pick 1 to 3 category topics. And that tends to be helpful. And I thought it was interesting because I came across Repeat Crafter Me, her blog. So it's called repeatcrafterme.com, maybe. Let me double check. Yes, and I'll share this because I thought this was really interesting. I just shared the link. Her tagline at the top is crafting, crocheting, and crock potting. So there you go. As soon as you get there, you know that her blog is going to contain those 3 topics. So that can be super helpful if you feel like there's not going to be enough for you to talk about, especially, again, if you sell products. I've seen a lot of people who, if they sell products for the home, maybe they talk about other things like recipes. Maybe they like cooking, so they'll mix in ideas for home gifts and decor, products that they can purchase, product roundups and reviews, and then they might have the cooking side if they like cooking. Maybe it's just about the home. I mean, there's a lot of blogs on keeping the home clean. So if you sell home decor things, you could talk about hacks and ideas and things for, cleaning the house or decorating your house or things like that. Or if it's a style blog and you sell finished products like hats and gloves and, things like that, it could be style tips outside of that. So I don't know, you have to think about it. You have to think about what the people, and another great thing is if you go to craft shows, you can really get to know the people that are purchasing your stuff. You can ask them about their hobbies and the other things that they do. And that can give you an idea of the interests that people might like, and you can try to marry those 2 things. But finding, 1 to 3 topic ideas that aren't just crochet, you can branch out. Maybe there's another craft that you really enjoy that you want to talk about if you're talking to other crocheters or creators. But that can be super helpful. Know that your focus may change over time. And that's important too. Like I talked about, I used to sell finished products and now I don't. So that will change the things that you write about and share. If, I know for me, I would like to start offering more tips and tutorials for people who are running crochet businesses, whether that is product photography. I've talked about that a lot because I enjoy it and I enjoy writing about it. So, it's really just figuring out the things that you like to write about and then crossing that over with what people are actually interested in, which again, a lot of it's analytics. Once you start your blog, even if you start a free one, you can see your analytics. You can see the blogs that are most popular and that are, people are actually reading and clicking on, and that can help you a lot. Using tags. This is a pet peeve of mine on blogs. If I'm on a blog and there is no way for me to try to, like for instance, let's see, if we go to my blog, if you go to my current blog, you can see underneath each image, there are tags that are clickable. So the very first one that's up on my blog right now is a crochet pattern roundup that I just released today. I haven't even announced it on social media yet. I posted it this morning. And it's a crochet pattern roundup. And just under the photo, there's actually a clickable tag that says pattern roundup. So if you click on that tag, it'll bring you to a page with all of my pattern roundups. So if you have the ability to do that, which if you're on the free WordPress.com site, you can. It's set up just the same. It's going to be on the right bar with all of your options. You can add categories. And as long as you have those categories visible, people are going to be able to select which categories they're interested in, which is really good if you have multiple things that you like to talk about. So for me, I have my pattern roundups, but I also have a category called product reviews. So someone could click on product reviews and they can go through and see all of the different product review type blogs that I've done. So I think that's really helpful, just makes the experience better. And I think people will hang out on your site longer if the experience is better. So use your tags and use your categories. And those are two separate things. You're going to have a section for tags and a section for categories. Categories are the ones that will be clickable on your website. Tags are more for SEO purposes. Okay, so my first question that I have written down was what to include and how often to post. And we talked about what to include a little bit, and that is just figuring it out based on your audience, trying things, seeing if they work, seeing if people are interested. And how often to post. It's really about consistency in my mind. So for me, I'm not going to really be able to post more than once a month. So I make once a month my goal. And so it's the same thing with social media. If you give yourself a goal that's unreachable, you're less likely to be consistent. If you say, I'm going to post every single day on social media, but you know you don't have time to do that, then that's not going to be an achievable goal and you're not going to be consistent. So if you know that realistically you can post twice a week to social media, then make that your goal and schedule it. And the same thing with blog posts. Make sure that you're actually scheduling it. You have a plan. Like this month, I'm going to do, for me, I'm going to do a pattern roundup this month on this topic. And then you can schedule time out. Maybe you take an afternoon or an evening or a weekend or weekend morning and you sit down and you write that blog. And you can batch content. That's the same with everything else. If you can sit down and write a couple of blog posts at a time and you can save them in your drafts, then that's going to help you be more consistent because you have 2 or 3 blogs written and ready and you just have to wait or schedule them. And in a lot of cases, you can schedule the posts. So schedule them to go out at a certain time. And that's super helpful. So how often to post depends entirely on the availability that you have in your schedule and making sure that you can be consistent so that people know if I subscribe to this blog, I know that at least once a month, there's going to be something new that gets posted. Do I need a blog as a designer? No. I mean, I think it can be very helpful, but again, it comes down to, do you have the time for it? Do you want to do it? And do you need a website? So that was, for me, it was more about, I didn't want to pay for a website. So I went ahead and got a free blog and I turned that blog into a functional website for me to use to put in, in my Instagram, in my, anywhere that has all the information on how to connect with me. I had a website listed and that was my website and my blog. So it was super helpful. It is helpful if you are a designer and you are posting helpful things. If you are posting tips and tricks about, different things that you've learned that have made your life easier as a crocheter, or if you're posting free patterns that have the upgrade to the paid version in an Etsy shop, then yes, it's going to get you more traffic. I mean, there are people who are out searching, and if they, search for a specific type of pattern, your Etsy shop and your Ravelry shop may not show up, but your blog might. So it's just another place for people to find you. So if you have the time for it, I do think it's helpful, but I don't think you should be doing anything that you just absolutely hate doing and don't want to do. So if you don't want to write and you don't want to, have the upkeep of a blog, you might just want a website with no blog, and that's fine too. So the benefits of a blog, that was another question. And we've kind of gone through that a little bit. I think what I just said about being searchable and findable, it gives another place for people to find you, and it gives you a place to share things that maybe, if you just have an Instagram and you just have a Facebook, it's not as easy to have
information about yourself or your story or other things. So for me, I have a whole page on my website dedicated to our crochet hooks and the story behind them and how that got started. And there's no room for that really on an Instagram bio, you know, or even on a Facebook page. There's not really a good about me way to do that. So your website just gives you a nice place. And again, this can be a free blog that you use as a website. Just gives a place for you to share more information about you and your backstory and what you do and what you offer. And I think we forget sometimes with social media, we'll forget to share things. We forget to continue to introduce ourselves because you have new people that are following you. Um, and I think like I'll forget, I don't post about our hooks a ton. I post every time we do a new release, but it's, sometimes you realize that there are things or old patterns. There are old patterns that I'll just completely forget to share. So it's nice to have another place for people to go and, see these other things about you as a maker, and having a blog/website combined is a great way to do that. So tips for a beginner is just do it. If you want to start a blog, start a blog. Go to WordPress.com, open up a free blog, play around with your settings, get it out there, put up a couple of posts, do an about me page, have a contact page, and share it. That's the best thing that you can do for yourself is just to go for it. If you want to do it, take the time and do it. That's the best tip. There are people who will say, go ahead and do a paid website because you'll save yourself time and energy. But I'm not going to tell you that because, again, I had a free blog/website for 7 years and it worked for me. I enjoyed having it. It did what I needed it to do, and I didn't have to pay for it. So, I don't think it's a problem to start out on the free side, especially if you're not really sure if that's what you even want to do, and you're just kind of getting your feet wet in the world of having a blog and putting that out there and marketing yourself through blogging. How to plan content. So the best thing that you can do with planning content is to brainstorm. So, sitting down and really just free writing, letting yourself write about all the things that the people that purchase things from you might be interested in learning about or hearing about or helping. And then just starting to narrow that list down. So you'll have this big page of word vomit, pretty much. And then you take that and you'll just start to narrow that down into topic ideas. And then what I like to do is I'll pick a topic and I'll just start writing about it. You can do some research, see if other people are writing about that to get ideas, not plagiarizing, not copy and pasting, but going and seeing what other people have wrote about that topic. So that way you can get some ideas of like, oh, I could go this direction with that as well. Or I like what this person said, but I would actually, talk more about this. And so you can do that and go through and see what other people have done. Ellen said, important words. You enjoy having a blog. Yes, I enjoy having a blog. And if you don't, then you might just want a website and not have the blogging aspect of it. Now, another thing that you could do is you could blog about your journey as a maker. I mean, that's something that, if you're selling finished products, you could do blog posts about like updates on what you're working on and what your show schedule is going to be. If you're a local person, this could be a place where people who purchase from you can come to, if you're making new products, if you have new ideas, if you want to get feedback, if you want to share your show schedule for the upcoming couple of months, if you want to share some new yarn that you got and ask people, what would you like to see me make out of this to have available in my Etsy shop? Those are some really cool things that you could do too. But see, this is all just in my head, and you would just write all of this down and then pick a topic and run with it and start writing about it. But that's how you plan content. That was what that whole spiel was focused on. What works and doesn't work? That was another question that I got. And that 100% depends on your audience and your analytics. So really staying in tune with your audience, asking them what they want to hear from you, having that open line of communication with your top customers who really do want to hear from you and want to be a part of that communication. You can ask them, what do you feel like I would be good at explaining or helping with or putting resources out there for? And then using your analytics to see what blog posts have done well. And then even if that's only a little bit better than the other posts, at least you have some kind of metric to go off of, okay, this blog post has actually done pretty well. Let me do something similar to that. And that can be very, very helpful. And that's the same with social media. Analytics are a big, big part of that. And if you ignore them, then you are kind of shooting in the dark and you're not really sure which direction you're going, but it can give you a little bit of a guide to figure out where you want to go next and what you want to try next. Okay, so we had a few more questions come in. Emma said, I always said a blog was a digital diary, and I think for some people it still is. And that's how my personal blog was. So that was a place where, you know, I didn't share it a whole lot. Like, I think I shared some of my personal blog posts on my personal Facebook page, but it wasn't something that I really shared a whole lot on my business page because it was a personal blog. How do you get people to see, notice, and interact with your blog? That's the big question, isn't it? So this really is a bigger picture explanation of you want to make it as easy as possible for people to find you. So if you have a YouTube channel, your YouTube channel should have links to every other place that people can connect with you. If you look in the description of my video, of this one, you'll see all the different links to my Instagram, to my Facebook page, to my Facebook group, to sign up for my newsletter, to my blog, to my Etsy shop. If you go to my Etsy shop, at the bottom of my Etsy shop, there are links to my Instagram page. I think there's a link to my Facebook page. There may even be a link to either Pinterest or YouTube. And then if you go to my Instagram, there's a link in the bio of my Instagram feed, which has links to YouTube, Etsy, my website, my blog. So you want it to all be this interconnected world, so that if someone finds you in one place, it's very easy for them to say, oh, they also have an Instagram, I'm going to go follow them. Or, oh, they have a Facebook group, I like Facebook groups, I'm going to go join the Facebook group. Because you never know where people want to hang out. And you start to kind of figure that out as you share all of these different ways for you to connect. So the way to get people to your blog is to make sure that you're sharing your blog posts. So if you're on Instagram and you release a blog, you should make at least, you know, 1 or 2 Instagram posts about the new post that you made. Make sure that there is a link to that post in your bio. I always recommend having a link tree. So if you have a link tree or a link in bio, any of those where it creates a list of links, so when someone clicks on the link in your bio, there's a whole bunch of links there that they can go through, and you'll add that link so that when they click on there, they'll immediately see new blog post. They can click on it and go to your blog. Once you make 1 or 2 posts about it, and take your time, like don't post one and then another immediately. So do your Instagram post, maybe post about something else the next day, and then the next day, so day number 3, post about your blog post one more time. Be like, just in case you guys missed it, this is my new blog post. Go check it out, get some great info. But share it to your stories or make a reel about the blog post. So if the blog post is educational, I really like the reels. They're really easy. So you do the reel where you set your camera up and you stand back from your camera, and then you lean and point for a minute, you lean and point for a little bit longer, point here, and those are your key points from your blog. So if it's like an educational blog post about 4 ways to do this or 3 ways to do this, then you just set this up, and then when you're making your reel, you can add your text to what each of those points are. And then in your description, you can say, go check out my new blog post for all of the information, or for more tips, or for more information, or all of that. So that's a fun way to do that. But share it and get it out there. If you write a blog post, you could even film a video talking about it. So I haven't done this as much, but it's kind of on my list. I did one like this with my pattern roundups. So I actually did, I took my pattern roundup and I did a video feed of my computer screen and went through the pattern roundup and talked about it. So I talked about each pattern. It was already there, but some people might want to listen instead or watch the video. So you know, you can turn that content into a whole nother type of content if you create the blog and then go live, or even if you don't go live, just film a video and upload it to YouTube of you walking through it and giving even more information or even more kind of tidbits that go off of the blog post. So that's something else you can do. But those are all ways to just get your blog out there. If you have a Facebook group, you can share it in your Facebook group. If you have a newsletter, you can share out to your newsletter that you published a new blog post. Let's see. Am I also using Pinterest? So I am on Pinterest. I need to be better at using it. I had a little phase last year where I did really well, and I was posting almost every day to Pinterest, because if you use canva.com, it's very easy to make Pinterest graphics, and I was making graphics for some of my older posts, my older blog posts. I was making Pinterest graphics for some of my crochet patterns that were in my Etsy shop. And I was starting to really fill some of my boards. And you can find me. I am Pink Sheep Design on Pinterest. But I need to jump back on the Pinterest train. If you're consistent, I do have to say, if you're consistent, I do have a lot during that time where I was posting almost every day, or at least once or twice a week. I was posting to Pinterest, and you can schedule it through Canva. I think that's the Pro edition, but you can, if you pay for, it's like $12.99 a month if you pay for Canva Pro, but you can schedule your Pinterest pins. You may be able to schedule them directly through Pinterest now. I know a lot of the platforms are allowing that, but it was a little tedious, and I didn't feel like I was getting a whole lot of results. I did have a lot more views on average when I was posting consistently. But I didn't see that immediate kind of feedback. And I feel like a lot of the Pinterest pins that do well, it's that kind of, you post the pin to the free pattern, which takes you to the blog, which then allows you to go pay for the PDF. And I was going straight from Pinterest to the paid PDF, which I have heard doesn't tend to do as well. A lot of people are, you know, they're looking for free things on Pinterest. So I don't know. I don't have as much feedback on Pinterest. I do use it. I do have a pretty good collection of pins of my own. But I need to hop back on that and work on it. Helen asks, how does a blog differ from a newsletter? Good question. So your newsletter, I know for me, it's actually rare that I remember to share my blog posts to my newsletter. So for me, it's a huge difference. You know, I'll post things on my blog, and I usually send out a newsletter once a month when we release our new hooks. And within that hook release, I'll have other things that are happening that month, because I don't really want to send out more than 1 or 2 newsletters a month. And so I won't usually send out a newsletter just because I posted a blog. I'll kind of keep that. And then when I'm ready to send out a newsletter about hooks or about a new apparel or merchandise release, I'll include, like, check out my newest blog posts, you know, and I'll have it in the newsletter. But people can subscribe to your blog, and they will get emailed when you post a new blog. And that is not your newsletter. That is specifically through WordPress. So I have a few people, I don't know how many, but there are a few people who are just subscribed to my blog. And that way, when I post a new blog post, they're alerted via email, but that is separate from my list of emails for my newsletter that I send out. I hope that helps. If you have additional questions on that, you can pop them in the chat. Emma, so it's like creating your own pocket dimension. Yes, that's what it feels like, with everything is, you know, linked together and it links to itself. And yes, that's how it feels. And Dana, I love Canva. Yes, me too. Yeah, Canva has been very, very helpful for me. That's where I make the majority of my graphics for my blog posts and for my YouTube, you know, thumbnails and all of that. Well, I think that was all of the questions that I had. To make sure I didn't miss anything, because we talked about how to become an affiliate and influencer in the crochet fiber world. That's a whole separate video, but when you have a blog, you can do affiliate link heavy posts. So for instance, before we really started selling our 3D printed crochet hooks, I had a blog post called The Crocheter's Guide to Jumbo Crochet Hooks. And it was all of the different places that I had found that you could buy hooks that were larger than 10 millimeter. It was like 10 millimeter and up. And quite a few of those links were affiliate links. So that way, if people clicked out and purchased through those links, then I would get a small amount of money from that sale. And you can do that with yarn, but you can watch that video, my affiliate video, if you want to learn more about that. But that's a great way to earn money, even if you have a free blog, is using affiliate links. And then obviously making sure that your blog links out to, you know, an Etsy shop or a Ravelry shop or wherever it is that you're selling, you know, your items. And that's how you can continue to make more money that way. Okay, guys, well, it has already been an hour. I hope you found that helpful. I feel like that was a really great chat. We covered a lot of information. I would love for you guys, if you can, if you have a blog, I would love for you to share it in the comments. If I turn the live off before you get your link listed, come back to this video once it's uploaded and add it to your comments, because I would love to go see your blogs and follow them. And check out what you guys are working on. And remember, you can join my Facebook group. So I will actually probably post in the Facebook group too, a Facebook post where you guys can all share links if you have a blog. Ellen, that went fast. Thanks for the great information. Yes, that was a really quick one. We had a lot to cover, so I think that was really good. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a great rest of your week. I will be live this Friday on Instagram with, let's see. So as you guys know, Pink Sheep and Friends is now weekly. So every Friday, I'm interviewing another maker. And this Friday, I actually have a returning maker, and that is Tessa of T-Zines. So I'm super excited to have her back on. We had a fantastic time chatting the first time, and we knew that we were going to do another one. So it'll really just be a catch-up chat. We're going to, you know, talk about what we have going on, you know, with our businesses and what's coming up. And, you know, I don't know, we're just going to chat and see how it goes. So I hope you guys will join us on Instagram on Friday, 12 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, and I will see y'all soon. Happy hooking, guys.